I wanted to focus on Green Bay's wide receivers, especially that Jordy was out.
Yeah, and he is ruled out for certain.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard for you to fit Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell on the lineup, and you see the running backs aren't too swell after that besides Zeke. So that was my philosophy there. But that being said, I definitely want to do a lineup with our man, Aaron Rodgers. So why don't we start Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, I've got one. You go ahead and break one down for me with Rodgers and your running back combination. See what you can stuff into this potato.
This is going to be challenging, man.
It sure is, man. It is. But this makes it fun. Because this is what is going to twist your arm to find the chalk guy who has the best game and the backup and the 2s and 3 horses that are going to have the best game. It's tricky. Certainly is tricky, and it's a guessing game for sure.
Well, why don't we do this, man? Because I found, and tell me if you like this idea. When I'm doing these right here, I found like I like to put in the key guys that I want to use, and then try to kick around because of very little money left. It's going to be hard to fulfill that lineup. So now, what I'm looking at an Aaron Rodgers and a Le'Veon Bell, and then I'm looking at Tyreek Hill and Randall Cobb.
Okay.
So why don't we jump to defense right now?
Yep, and I know why you would do that. I do the same thing when you go to defense, just to see what kind of room you can make for yourself.
See where the value lies. You heard me pick Green Bay before. Nothing really jumps out at me and says I got to start him. I know I like Kansas City's D. Justin Houston is playing, so if I have the money, I want to start them. But Big Ben was pretty decent, playoffs, etc. So I don't think we're going to see 20 points from Kansas City. So
probably.
This might be one of those days where all 4 defenses get 7 points or something.
I think it will, and I think if you're leaning in the direction of going low end in the defense, you're probably on the right track.
Okay. So here you want to both commit to the idea. Now we've already got 2 Green Bay Packers, so this will be our third. We can only get one more if we go Green Bay.
I don't, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I think for $200 more, the best matchup of the day is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
They were playing on fire last week against Miami. That defense they were just hitting everybody. They played on fire. And Miami can run the football really well. That's a good running team. Now, they got caught. Miami reminded me of a boxer who just got caught on the chin in the first round with a long right, and all of a sudden the knees were weak. He was jello and just got pummeled for the next 4 rounds until he got knocked out.
Yeah, they didn't.
No, they were out on their feet early, and it was early. And then I don't know if you saw the final blow to Matt Moore from Bud Dupree. He absolutely.
Oh, hell yeah. Trust me,
I saw it.
Oh, Jesus, there we go. Because you saw Matt Moore still had a good game, even though he gave away 5 points.
That's hey, hats off to him, man. Hats off to him for taking that shot. But I saw him hanging himself out to dry when he rolled out and sat. And as soon as he planted his feet to look downfield, I went, oh no, because it's like peeling back if you're downfield. Somebody's behind you and you're gonna get lit up. He was just a sitting target and he got annihilated. Now they fined the hell out of Bud Dupree, and I'll tell you what, they should have. I would be fine with the hit if he hit him, but he left his feet. And when you launch yourself and your head is the first thing to make contact, especially with the other player's helmet, you're going to get fined. I mean, I've seen some arguments to the contrary. I hadn't seen it argued successfully yet. You leave your feet, your head hits first, you're going to get fined. You're going to get it. But, enough of my tirade. I love that Steelers defense this weekend. I think they're playing on fire.
That sounds good. I got no problem rolling with that.
Full-time sales, buddy.
Hey, man, it works. Like I said, that's the reason why I wanted to jump to this position because.
Sure. I'm on your team. I'm trying to win too, man.
Yeah. So what I'll probably do then is I think I want to jump to tight end.
Okay.
If that's cool with you.
Go for it, man. I like working the other way around too. This makes total sense.
Yeah, because we're you know we obviously we know we can't. We're not starting Antonio Brown or Des Bryant as a third wide receiver spot. So we need to figure out what we can do. Try to get our points from one of the other, higher value spots at tight end.
Sure.
Let's say. It's probably looking like we probably want to go with Jared Cook. How do you feel about that?
I went a little bit lower, and this was a roll of the dice. I went with Richard Rodgers.
Okay.
He's at 4,600. He might have 2 catches for 20 yards, but one of those might be for 6 points.
Okay.
And, really last week he had 1 catch, 1 target for 14 yards, and, that's a terrible day. Prior to that, he was exactly what I just said, 2 for 20 and a touchdown, and that's 9 points. It's not horrible, especially if you can suck big points out of your chalk.
Yeah, I agree. Now, here's why I like Jared Cook, and he's not too much more money.
Nope, not at all. 9 more. Not Aaron. Yeah, sorry. 8 grand more. I apologize.
Yeah, last 4 games, 8 targets at Chicago, 5 at Minnesota, 8 at Detroit.
9, 8, 5, and 8.
Yeah. If he gets his touchdown, now he's in the 12 to 18 point range, if you will, and that's huge. And Dallas gives up a lot of points to the position. So I think, while your philosophy is good, I think I'm going to go with my Jared Cook right there. I think.
Sure, no, go with it, and then tell me where you saved on wide receiver, because that's where it got tricky for me.
Well, it now gives me a little more money now when I did that. Let's see if I put Kelsey in, because obviously Kelsey is the chalk, and it's worthwhile, but he can get shut down every now and again. And
he can, and that's steep, and he's going to be faced with guys like James Harrison and Bud Dupree and Ryan Shazier, who is a linebacker who can run. So I don't know how easy this is going to be for Travis Kelsey. He's a great player, so he may have a nice day. And I will point this out. We pointed out in our Pick'em show the other day 2 things. This team's played in October. Kelsey had 8 targets, 5 catches for 23 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, that's
10.8 point day, but 8 targets, not a monster. They played from behind, I believe. I think, this is the game that Pittsburgh actually absolutely shellacked them on a Sunday night, I believe, if memory serves. I don't think that'll be the case again, because this is Andy Reid off a bye week, and if you know your NFL history, Andy Reid off a bye week, I believe, is 18-1.
Okay.
That is, if you think about that for a second, 18-1.
Yeah.
That's like wildly impressive. That means you give Andy Reid an extra week to scheme and game plan. There's a pretty good chance he's going to smack you in the mouth. And that says something. So I'm keeping that in mind, and I'm using that. But going forward, go ahead. I wanted to point that out.
Yeah, no, that's good to know. You're right. It gets a little tricky here. I'm trying to figure out who I.
While you're doing that, I'm going to tell you what I stuffed in here.
Okay.
And this was my stuffed baked potato lineup of the week here, and this thing is loaded. Aaron Rodgers, Le'Veon Bell, Ezekiel Elliott. It's possible. I'll show you how. Wide receivers, Randall Cobb, Devonta Adams, Eli Rogers, Richard Rodgers. My kicker is Carlos Santos.
Carlos Santos, ole.
Ole, right there, baby. Nacho Libre himself with the right foot of a Norse god, and the Pittsburgh Steelers defense at 4,500, and you can stuff that all in and total out at plus 200 with a little bit left to spare. It's risky, and I hate not having Antonio Brown in the lineup, and I think it's possible with Alex Smith to get Brown in the lineup. I also think it's possible that if you want to just throw out a guy at 4,500 points in the wide receiver position and just, really concede a spot and hope he has a catch, I don't know that guy's out there.
Yeah.
Maybe you hope Chris Conley has 3 or 4 catches and sneaks a touchdown at 4,500. Maybe.
I think a possibility. Well, he's 6,100, but Cole Beasley could do something.
Potentially, that game could be a boat race as well. I look for a lot of points all around this week, and I really do.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Jerry Maclin at 5,500 has got some potential to at least have 60 and a touchdown, but he also has potential to have, 4 catches for 45 yards.
Yeah, Macklin scares me. I've learned a lesson.
He does, and I don't think he's healthy. I think mid-season groin injuries that you don't bounce back from. I don't know if you've ever injured a groin. I haven't, but I can't imagine how difficult that is on a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Can't imagine how difficult it is to have to cut, move, plant, slide, go, gun it, race. I mean, you're racing somebody downfield at some points. That hard plant, cold weather, I can't imagine. I don't think you ever get loose.
No, he missed a lot of time, too.
He sure did, and I don't think with a groin injury until it's 100%, I just don't think you're ever loose. And Jerry Macklin's a really damn good wide receiver, but I just don't think I just don't think he's the most valuable player on the field as a receiver. So Geronimo Allison is somebody worth looking at 5,300. If you want to take a guess that Randall Cobb's going to disappear this week or that Devonta Adams is going to disappear this week, I don't think either one of them will, just because this is going to be a pass-heavy game for the Green Bay Packers. And no Jordy, both of those guys are in the mix. I think if you're going to stack it all, you throw in those Packer players and you blink, close your eyes, and take a leap of faith.
Yeah. Remember, everyone, that Green Bay really doesn't have a running game still. Pat Montgomery's a pretty good player.
And it's really too bad that Tyrone Montgomery can't start in your lineup at a wide receiver position anymore.
Yeah, because he has more value there, obviously.
He sure does. Now, if you're going to move over to DraftKings, you may want to take a look at Ty Montgomery in that flex position or even in a running back position. Save a bunch of money, and if you've got more, then you can still load up with probably 2 chalk running backs. So I will be taking a peek over at some DraftKings stuff tomorrow morning, and I've got a couple good contests reserved from earlier in the week and a couple tickets that I won last week that I'm going to take advantage of. Because I do like the flex position as well. They both have their own special value flex compared to having a kicker. So keep it in mind, man. There's more than one show in town. You can go check them all out.
Yeah.
Finish up, Mike. Tell me what else you got there.
Man, this is challenging. Like I said, I'm trying to decide on where I want to go with with that running back spot.
Yeah, it's a tough one. There is no doubt.
I kind of deconstructed mine.
Which is always fun to work backwards on this stuff. I think if nothing else, you don't necessarily have to have Le'Veon Bell in a lineup because he's the most expensive player on the board, and he might have the toughest matchup.
Yeah, well, obviously, some of these studs are going to get shut down because,
it's got to happen at some point or another. That Kansas City defense can be really stingy. Again, Andy Reid, I think that it's a wise move to put a lineup together where you fade Le'Veon Bell, and that gives you the ability to stuff in an Antonio Brown. And I'll tell you what, if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and Todd Haley calling the game, if you can't get Le'Veon Bell going, you're getting Antonio Brown involved. So
yeah, it's one or the other.
Market, it's there. The play is there.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, it's really easy to overanalyze a lot of this stuff, and it's also healthy and helpful that Jordy Nelson is out because that changes everything for me anyhow. I don't think Des Bryant is an option, although he'll probably find the end zone in 70 yards at some point. But I do think you can make a lot of moves, and you can find ways to stuff an Antonio Brown, Aaron Rodgers, Ezekiel Elliott lineup together, which I'm going to do right now.
What about this? What do you think about, and because obviously every dollar matters right now.
It does. This is it. This is the push.
Yeah, with Darius Green most likely going to miss another game.
He's not going to play.
What do you think about starting Jesse James at 4,500 just to free you up? Because now that opens back up at 7,300 of the running back, I can now take Spencer Ware. And now my lineup is Aaron Rodgers, Le'Veon Bell, Spencer Ware, Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb, Tyreek Hill, Jesse James, Chris Boswell, and Pittsburgh.
I think you can do it. I think it's an okay play. It's a gamble, and I do think that you're probably conceding the position at 4,500 points. You probably are to buy him at 4,500 because if he doesn't find his way into the end zone, that's all that you're going to get out of Jesse James. He's going to have 2 catches for 16 yards, and you're going to come out of there with 2.4 points, and you almost have to accept that. Or you luck out and he catches a 40-yard touchdown or a 21-yard touchdown, with 2 other catches, then you somehow end up with 11 points out of him, then it's all the value in the